Okay, so we are done with section 10.3, and the reason I start with this is because what I'm saying is that 10.3 was tough with all the stuff we had to do with the combining like roots and with the simplifying roots, and then doing the multiplication and the rationalization. So today should be a welcome break from some of the things we've been doing. It actually takes us back to our easy days in algebra. I say easy as in assuming that most of you actually did what you were supposed to do in algebra, and that's when the problems look like this. The only difference is that now the problems will look like this and they'll have a root in them. So really all that happens is we have another element for us to have to solve for. Don't allow the radicals to intimidate you. If you learned anything from me, I hope you have learned something from me. It's that a lot of topics look difficult, but as long as you have a grip on the basics, really it's not as easy to or not as hard to do. So today should be an actually easy day. It actually should have a quick Math XL assignment waiting for you so that people can get caught up on things that are hurting them in the grades. We've already learned about the opposites in math when it comes to solving again in algebra. We know that if there was a plus a number that was being added, that we would subtract to both sides. We know if there is a number that was being subtracted, we would add to both sides. We know if a number was being multiplied, we divide. We know if a number was being divided, that we would multiply. That was the first things we learned. Last unit we actually learned, or I don't know if it was last unit or the unit before, but I do know that when we were doing parabolas and quadratics, we learned that if something is squared, that we could square root both sides, if you remember that plus or minus game that we did. And so therefore you understand that to undo a square root, we simply square both sides. So it is much easier when you work it out, not when you read all those words. So you don't need to write all this, just make sure you get it, make sure you understand what's going on, and then when you do your Math XL, again, please ask. The biggest issue people have in any math class, especially mine, is that they get stuck, they try it, it doesn't work, they try it again, it doesn't work, they try it again, it doesn't work, and after a while you just have to get some help. So please make sure you do that. And here's what we do. We have the square root of x equals 13. X is here, but there's a root on it, and again, the way we get rid of a root is we put a parentheses around both sides and we square both sides. What happens is the square and the root goes away, x comes down, and 13 squared is 169. That's it. That is all you have to do to get rid of a root there. Alright? So with that said, let's look at some more and make sure we understand. Again, it's just a game of moving in to the actual root. Square root of x plus 1 equals 8. Notice that if this is x, the first thing on x is that x is inside the shell, but the 1 is not. Because 1 is not in the shell, the first thing we're going to do is get rid of the 1. Again, this is the furthest thing from x. You have x is under the root and the 1's on the outside, so we work our way in by subtracting 1. We bring down square root of x equals 7. Now we want to get rid of the square root, so we again put parentheses around both sides and square it. It is important that you put parentheses around both sides because there's going to be times when there's more than one thing, but we'll get to that later, probably next week. Anyway, the square and the root or radical both eliminate, bringing down x, and 7 squared, as we know, 7 times 7 is 49. So hopefully again you're looking at this and thinking, wow, this is easy. Not only that, thank you for it being easy on a Thursday, because Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday were a beast for some of you. Problem number 3. This 1 is actually inside the shell, which is the difference between problem 3 and problem 2. If you notice in problem 2, 1 was not in the shell, so we moved it first. But here on problem 3, we cannot get to the 1 because there is a shell around it, and that's where you have to make sure you're paying attention. You do not get rid of the 1 first because the 1 is under here. So the first thing we have to get rid of here is the square root, which means we then get x plus 1 equals 8 squared, which is 64. Again, 8 to the second power if you type that into your calculator. You then subtract 1 from both sides, bringing down x and 63. That is it. You just have to train your eyes to kind of see when you're supposed to move the number first, when you're supposed to move the root first. But again, with practice, with an open mind, and the ability to try it and mess up and actually communicate with me whenever you have issues, this shouldn't be a hard day at all. Problem number 4, 2 times the square root of x is equal to 3. In this case, notice that the root is here, the 2 is on the outside, so the first thing we're going to do is get rid of this 2. So the 2's cancel, square root x comes down with 3 over 2, which really there's nothing you can do with 3 over 2 but leave it as 3 over 2. Now we want to get rid of the root, so we square both sides, and then if you remember from a long time ago, whenever you square a fraction, you square both parts. 3 squared is 9, 2 squared is 4. That is your final answer. So again, hopefully you're looking at this and saying, wow, this is really easy, because really it is really easy. You just have to make decisions, and again, the best thing you're going to get out of this is the more you practice, the better you're going to get at it, and you are going to get a good amount of practice today, or at least a decent amount of practice today. We'll save our real practice for tomorrow, and for Monday and Tuesday. But anyway, here, notice that the 2 is under the root, so we don't get rid of the 2 because we've got to get to the 2 first by getting rid of this thing. So we square both sides first. The square and the radical eliminate, bringing down 2x equals 9. Interesting. And then you divide by 2, getting the answer of 9 over 2. No, it's not the same as last time. That was 9 over 4. But anyway, that's it. Now it just comes down to deciding what is the weakest. So again, problem 6, I think we should notice that we can't get to the 2, we can't get to the 5 because there is a shell, a radical over it. And the way we get rid of this radical is by putting parentheses around both sides and squaring both sides. Again, the square and the root, the radical actually go away, bringing down 2x plus 5. This turns into 100. Now you do your basic algebra. We get rid of the 5 by subtracting it. Bring down 2x equals 95. Get rid of the 2 by dividing. We get x equals 95 over 2. And that is all. And then the last one before we have a quick discussion point and give you your lesson credit. Here, the 8 is the furthest. We can't get to the 2 next because it's under here, but again, we'll get to that. But the 8 is the weak number, so we get rid of the 8. We bring down root 2x equals 4. Now, we look and say, well, I can't get to the 2, so I got to get rid of the root first. So I square both sides. Again, the 2 and the root go away, bringing down 2x equals 16. And then the last thing I do is divide both sides by 2 to get x equals 8. And that is all. So again, today is more about you just kind of practicing, but again, the good news about it is it's not practicing on a level of having to do a lot of crazy things just yet. I'll save that for next week, since you have had a pretty tough week in terms of the other information, and your quiz tomorrow is going to have enough crazy questions on it. Hopefully, again, you see the steps are very basic. We've just got to get our sense of frustration and problems out of the work. Get rid of our sense of frustration, and the problems work out pretty easily. The Math Excel work is short. Again, it is short, not so that you can mess around, but so you can go to the things that you haven't gotten to yet and get some assistance and pull your grade up, because a lot of your grades are low just because of the Math Excel. So make sure you go back to those, ask about things, get some help on things. But if you are not done and you're messing around, then I'm probably going to take your computer away and make you sit somewhere where you really can't talk. Don't want to have to do that, but again, just make sure you are working today to try to get caught up. That is the whole point, so we can get out of this fourth quarter and get our credit. Again, just be sure you use your time wisely, because I can't guarantee the next 2 assignments will be this short. Actually, I know they won't be this short because you need practice, but catch up today, and then again, email me whatever your new results are. So if you go back to section 10.3a and you get a 90 instead of a 60, just email me and say, hey, 10.3a, I got a 90, and I'll be able to put that in the book as soon as I see it. So the faster you email me, the more you email me, the more I'll have your grades updated. If you don't email me, then your grade's going to stay low, and then you're going to have to catch it later on, which isn't as easy to do. So other than that, do this lesson credit real quick, get it to me, and after that, go ahead and get started on your Math Excel work, and let's get this thing done. Good luck.